G'day, freedom fighters and all you freedom lovers out there. How are we today? Well, can't say it's been a great result for the Queensland election, but Labor's got the flick. Fuck you, Labor. Yay! It's I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, I was pretty much the best we could really hope for is that Labor was going to be shown the door. They've been given the royal flush, like the turds that they are. Um, Will things be better under a Liberal government? Who knows? Look, at the end of the day, in my experience, you can actually communicate with the Liberal Party. The Labor Party are a pack of socialists, and their alignments are far more like a pack of Nazis than some of the other parties. Some of the results I think are a little disturbing. Like how many people voted for the pedo Greens. That's very disturbing. But we'll look into that a little bit more as we go. I was going to start off with something as soon as I figure out where I put it. While we wait for a few people to pop in. I was having a yarn with Fiona the other day. G'day, Fiona. How are you? And I was telling her about this film clip I did because she was asking about, some links to some of the work that I've done. And, hey, look, anybody out there looking for some digital design work, special effects, all that sort of stuff. Of course, Aussie Icon Productions is the place to go. Go to Facebook, type in Aussie Icon Productions, and you can see examples of some of the things that I've done. I haven't added a great deal lately because I've been too busy driving trucks and doing this stuff. But while that's uploading, this clip that I'm going to show you, I have showed a long time ago on the Galaxy Far Far Away. G'day, people of the power. How are you, mate? It is a bit disappointing. But, look, like I said, I think the best any of us really could hope for in a world full of sleepy people is that Labor was going to go. So, but anyway, back to this clip. This is a friend of mine's band, Fine Art Dealer, who we did some gigs with back when I was in the old Bogan Nation long time ago in the Galaxy Far Far Away. I was always a big fan of this song. And those who frequent live gigs for local bands probably realize you don't always get to hear exactly what the lyrics are all about, until you hear the song a few times. And this particular one, Skullduggery, I was really giving it a good listen one day down at one of the studios we were performing at, and I'm like, hey man, this stuff's about all the kind of conspiracy stuff that I look into every now and then. So I had a bit of a yarn with Marty, the vocalist, and he was quite into it. And we got onto quite a wonderful conversation, as I can imagine. You would think, as two wonderful minds meet discussing these concepts, and as time rolled on, unfortunately, Fine Art Dealer aren't performing in Melbourne anymore, which is a bit of a shame. They do still have a Facebook page. You can probably reach out to them, say good day. But I stayed in contact with a bass player, Simo, during the pandemic. And, while I'm sitting here thinking, Street, how am I going to survive? I thought, well, maybe I can offer bands, lyric videos, if they're able to fund it themselves. Obviously, everybody was going broke, so that idea didn't work out as well as I had hoped. But while I was talking to Simo, I said, hey, mate, do you mind if I use one of your songs to, sort of just do the best lyric video I can possibly think of? And having, been a big fan of Skullduggery, I asked if I could use that one, particularly because it's the kind of subject matter that I get a kick out of, and I reckon a lot of you mob out there are going to get a kick out of it too. So I sat down for about a week and a bit and compiled this, lyric video, which is still processing right now. But I think it's a stunning example of what can be done with a lyric video, and particularly with all the freedom music out there. And again, Michael sent me some stuff, but I just haven't had a chance to get through it all. The plan was to kind of play one of those, but there was no film clip sent with the stuff that Michael sent me. He just sent me the MP3s. So, maybe if there's culture artists out there who, are looking for something like this is, a good opportunity for me to show this off. And I might have a quick yarn with whoever is running culture tonight and see if they want to sort of maybe plug this one as well, just so they can sort of get it through. You know what? This isn't working the way I was hoping it would. So I might, present it in a different fashion so I can get this show running sometime today. Let me just, where did I get that? Hang on, where did I get that from? Okay, it was in that folder, radio. so many folders, so many things going on. It's a bit of a dog's breakfast. I mean, at least I've got some kind of order to the chaos that is my computer. Otherwise, I'd be absolutely rat shit trying to figure out where things are. So let's open that up. Does it work that way? Oh, that's right. I've got to do it this way. Sorry. Going about this the wrong way again. Sorry. Getting used to a new way of doing things. And we want to open that. Let's see. Hey, microphone. I remembered this time. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was Fine Art Dealers Skulldugger. I had a lot of fun making that. And if anybody out there is, got some tunes and they don't know how to put a clip together or whatnot, geez, my hair looks like shit today. Thought I brushed that. Oh well. Anyway, kids, what can I say? Okay, Wayne, how are you, mate? Once again, my notifications are off. I'm not sure what that means. I'm guessing that means you didn't get notified. Another way around that is Telegram, which leads me into what I was just about to say. One of the things I enjoyed about working on that clip, and particularly about having a yarn with other people who are clued on and, into doing their own research, is you always seem to learn something new. So, there was a couple of little things in there that I didn't even know about until I started doing that, So, in order to find a lot of the articles that pop up on that little TV screen, I just typed in conspiracy theories just to see what come up, and particularly looking at it from the point of view of those who would oppose this kind of research, and it actually led me to a whole bunch of stuff I hadn't seen before. In particular, I think there was one article in there about reading less is to know more, and that was a university study. Fucking yeah, go and look that one up. I might even add it to Telegram, but like I said, if you guys become, if you've got Telegram and you keep an eye on it, you should be able to get notifications directly from North Queensland Freedom Network Telegram group. I always put a link up because some people out there have asked me to do that because they're struggling to sort of find things and not so tech savvy. So if you've got notifications turned on and you get the North Queensland Freedom Network Telegram page happening, you'll get your notifications that way. I also just dropped a copy of a book called Wolves in Sheep's Clothing there. It's a PDF, and I highly recommend everybody read it. And definitely considering we just dodged a huge bullet here in Queensland after 12 years of tyranny, of Labor tyranny in particular. Wolves in Sheep's Clothing goes in quite extensively as to, the history of communism here in Australia. It's actually written by a 93-year-old lady at the time, I think she was, who obviously had some life experience and really put this shit together really well with the history of communism in Australia, how it ties in internationally, and how the Labor government is heavily in bed with socialists, communists, and all sorts of other undesirables. So yeah, if you guys want to have a look at that, jump over to Telegram and have a look. But in the meantime, let's get on with this show, shall we? So let's sort this little mess out, because as usual, I'm been running through as fast as I can to get everything sorted out by 11 o'clock, because places to be, things to do. All right, so share screen. Let's bring up what we got here. So obviously, we had a bit of a yarn on Friday about Turning Point Oz, and we're going to look into that a little bit further. Somebody did send me in a comment. I think it was on BitChute here, from a Ballerina 53 made the following comment: local council elections here, there was 25% vote for change, and we got none of the grubs with more mafia apprentices. Sorry, not that one. It was a different one. I did get your email, Jerry Phipps. Thanks heaps, man. I got your phone number. We'll have a yarn, mate. I think I'd love to do a little bit more about that story. So just acknowledging that I have received that. Catherine sent me a couple of things. I might even add these links that she sent me into Telegram. So if people want to have a look at them, particularly the Port Hedland motion, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in that one. Where'd it go? Don't you love it when you're like, hey, I'll find that. It was like right there, and now I can't find it. Don't tell me I accidentally trashed it. Well, anyway, the comment was basically saying that old mate here doesn't really do his research all that well. Look, Street, the fact that he's gone to the trouble of building this website and putting this together, I can imagine he probably hasn't had a chance to make a phone call to every candidate. I would imagine that assertion is probably true. That was, but the comment sort of implied that he just kind of reads what's there and goes from there. Hey, look, there's probably more than some people do. And I think the idea here is that, for people who are exceptionally lazy, and in previous elections, people have contacted me and gone, who should I vote for? I can't be bothered looking. So, and it's interesting because it just gives me the opportunity to vote multiple times because people ask me what to do. And it's like, I always say, look, I honestly recommend you should look for yourself. You should be involved. You should know your own shit and you should make your own decisions, But look, at the end of the day, if you want me to do it for you, and it's the same as this turning point Oz. If you want someone to do it for you, well, we've gone to the trouble of giving it a go. So anyway, I thought I finally got this energy one going. We couldn't get it going the other day, and I've noticed they've made some massive changes. Look at all this shit. It never used to be this much because it used to be just wind. Now it's current energy production. I've noticed as it's sort of expanded a little bit. I think we can still go to just wind though. And as you can see, wind, as usual, is performing very, very poorly. It's always my favorite thing to do is to go and check this because more often than not, they're doing 2/5 of fuck all. This means all these green ones are doing possibly something, but it's from 0 to nothing. You got all these white ones who are literally not utilized at all. Yellow, maybe 30% and above, and a couple of orange, 60% and above. This is that, so when they're giving you their energy projections about how well these things work, as you can see, they don't work very well at all, and their projected outcomes for the amount of power produced, we know, are fucking fuck all, because it's dependent on the weather, and what does the weather do? It changes just like the climate, which is why the whole narrative is just retarded. But it's a wonderful website for anybody who wants to check that out. I will put a link here in my Telegram page again, so you can go and check that out and share it around. You come across some sort of left-wing idiot who thinks, hey, look, wind is really good. Well, let's just for shits and giggles have a look at this website. And you can show them live. Every time they mention it, still underperforming, because it is very rare to log into this website and actually see high performances. That's why, we might just do this every week just to prove the point, So moving into the election, it's funny enough, although the Courier Mail does this wonderful little bit of, wonderful little article that we discussed on Friday about how One Nation was, scoring a net positive result according to their polling, as we read most of the article, it was only 1,800 people, well, a hell of a lot more than that voted, and it came up with a very different result. So although, in that small little group, and it just shows you how much, this kind of statistical analysis is utter shit and a complete waste of time. It's just a way of filling pages, really. When we look at the results, it's things are very different. We might go straight to some results. So our overall Queensland results, and I bear in mind they're still counting, so things are going to change a little bit. Might just give this a bit of a refresh just to see if things have changed. So, the Labor Party still got 778,106 votes. That's a lot of stupid people. LNP, nearly 1 million votes with a 41%. So it's a pretty big victory towards the Liberal National Party at this particular juncture in time. Chris Foley has been sworn in, as I've been told. That's a lot of people who are, let's add that up. And we're just basing this on what we've got so far. So it's not 100% accurate at this stage. But let's see how many people still have faith for some reason in the major parties. 74% of Australians, that's 3/4 of Australians are still under the illusion that the Liberal and Labor Party give a fuck about them. And that is very sad news. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot of work to do to wake up these fucking idiots. Yeah, very bad. Very bad. So we have 9.49% of the people encourage pedophilia by voting Greens. Well done, pedophiles. Apparently, it's becoming more and more likely that it will be declared a sexual preference with that kind of numbers behind them. Mind you, probably a lot of them are just really mentally ill and don't truly understand what it is they're voting for when they vote for the pedophile party, aka the Greens. Very disappointing numbers for One Nation, being less than the Greens. 7.8% of Queenslanders had the intelligence to vote for Pauline Hanson's One Nation. And just bear in mind, they're considered one of the four major parties these days, according to this Courier Mail article, and they are the most trusted. Yet, when we look at the results, you can see that this pile of dribble created by Brendan O'Malley here really didn't have much in it, did it? So, yeah. Libertarian Party, I'm not sure exactly much about them, but they couldn't even get a percent. So, yeah, we might have to look at that. Legalized cannabis, a lot of bongheads out there, 1.51 to 0.51% of the population. We just want to sit around and smoke weed all day. If staring at that spot on the wall and dribbling at it is one of those things you're really into, awesome. It's probably a bit of an extreme, but I guess it depends on how much of it you smoked. 2.63% for the Katter Party, which is pretty good considering I don't think they even had that many seats running. Independence 1.75, Family First 1.71. I would have thought they'd rate a little bit higher, considering they've got a target audience of the Christian Catholic sort of faith. You would think a few more would sort of get behind them. Perhaps their marketing wasn't so good, as we looked at in one of the earlier podcasts. During the last couple of weeks, their marketing strategy was fundamentally donate. It was kind of like it did remind me of church, where they're constantly passing the collection plate. So obviously you can tell I've got a big respect for religion. If that empowers you, that's wonderful. Personally, I don't need to go and give my power to someone else, and the Animal Justice Party, 0.29%. That's very positive. That's very positive because, again, these guys are basically, pretty out there. I don't have a lot of faith in the animal justice parties because they're usually linked to groups like PETA, and those groups probably do more harm than good. When you start to look into them, but that's a whole nother story. Getting into it in my local area here, it was great to see Les Walker with such a crushing defeat. But this is the very disappointing element, like the amount of work that Michael has chucked into this election. I would have thought that he would have come out with a much better result than this. I don't understand how this Janelle Poole got in, possibly on crime. She is a copper. Look, I remember meeting her from time to time. At various events, she was always there, handing out the little tags for kids in case they get lost at the show and things like that. Always a smiley, happy, lovely lady sort of thing. Even when I was working in the mainstream media, and we do our every Monday go in there and see how much crime was committed on the weekend. It was it was a religious event for the news every Monday morning. She was one of the ones that was there. Nice lady and all that. Sadly, she's got cancer. So now that she's gotten a seat in politics, how effective will she be? I don't know, because if she's sick, then it's going to be a bit hard. So I see this as a great amount of uncertainty here for the people in Mundingburra, to be honest. It's we'll see what happens. Mick Olsen, somebody who didn't campaign at all, still got 4.33% of the vote. One Nation, I think they need 5. You need to get 5% of the vote to get your money, because this is about money. When it comes down to I think we just got a live update then. Yeah, it looks like she's jumped up a little bit more. If you get 5% of the vote, you get a kickback. It's money. It's all it is. You know, the Greens, again, someone who didn't really campaign very well, this Rebecca Haley, you know, never even heard of her until, you know, 2 weeks out of the election, same as Mick Olsen. It's disappointing that there's that many people who are willing to entertain the pedophile party, you know. Very disturbing, very disturbing. But yeah, sorry, Michael. I honestly thought you'd do a little bit better there, buddy. So that's kind of where we're looking here in Mundingburra. Let's go and have a look at the seat of Thuringowa. Actually, Townsville pops up in my vision straight away. So Margie Ryder, again, she did relatively well. Alan Butt, again, the guy didn't even have a photo on the One Nation freaking page. So, well, yeah, I don't know who Tento William was really. I think it was another independent of some sorts, perhaps. Or was he the bloody greeny one? I can't remember. You know, Scott Stewart actually polled better than I think he should have. He's really quite useless. He was an independent, this Wesley Newman fella. He's not getting his money back. Adam Bailey, I don't know how, somehow got up there. I guess people just really hated Labor that much that they were like, we've got to get Liberal in to get rid of Labor. Tilly Benjamin, I think this was our greenie nut job. Benjamin Tilly was our greenie. So, yeah, again, very disappointed to see how many pedophiles there are. Nice one, username at XX. That's yeah. Do we ever see more butts here? Come on, guys, I want to see more butts. For all you Simpson viewers out there. So let's have another quick look. Where were we? Thuringowa is what we're looking here for. You know, all the Townsvillian peoples. Thuringowa. I still can't believe that 29% of the people have faith in this friggin' idiot. Like, they obviously never stood in his presence and felt the evil that oozes from this man. You know, like, he makes my skin crawl. From the very first day I was, you know, working at Wind News, I think within a couple of days or something, crossed paths with this guy, and my God, I got that cold shiver down my back, and I'm like, there's something not right about this guy. It's I don't know why, don't know what it is. There's something seriously wrong with this dude. Natalie has smashed him out of the park. Reuben did pretty well. Sadly, not well enough. The only One Nation candidate to actually put a bit of effort in, Stephen Clare, who started out independent and moved to One Nation, come up with a 6.23% result. He can tell us what that means a little bit more. I guess that means he'll get some of what he's donated into his own campaign back. Hopefully, he'll be able to afford to buy a new set of tires for his trailer. Seeing the wonderful criminal element here in Townsville, possibly even the Labor Party themselves, so I wouldn't put it past them to do that, stole the wheels off his trailer that he had his campaigning signs all around. I don't know how sophisticated it is in the big cities, but out here in Townsville, people tend to strap signs to trailers and just park them around in places. It's the marketing strategy. It's very sophisticated. I don't know much about these two. I'm guessing one of them was possibly a greenie. I think one of them was an independent. I can't remember which. But they didn't poll that well, and they won't be seeing their money back. So that's our Thuringowa seat. So it looks like we've got a full-blown Liberal takeover. So since I've been here in Townsville, which is about 8 years now, it started off, it was a full-blown Labor town, and in that 8 years, it's turned into a full-blown Liberal town. So it's better than a Labor town, I will say that. I would give Liberal a little bit more credit than the Labor Party, but the Liberal Party hasn't exactly been kind to freedom either, has it now? They were, that party was just as guilty of crimes against humanity in the past 4 years as the Labor Party. All the good ones, in my opinion, from the Liberal Party, such as George Christensen, Senator Rennick, can see his face, but the name eludes me. I just had him on the other day. I not just had him on, I just had his video on. Why am I going blank? Anyway, look, there was a couple of good ones, and they left because of the, the jabber Nazi stance. So, it was a bit sad that the good people in the Liberal Party have moved. But I was talking to someone the other day who might come on and share their thing, and it's all important to notice that we've only counted 70% of the votes still too. So this is still yet to change. But I think it's a pretty major landslide victory here in Townsville. Let's have what other seats do we want to look at? What was James Ashby was running? I want to see how he did. Apparently he campaigned for ages. Keppel. Let's go on. Let's have a look at the seat of Keppel, shall we? So the seat of Keppel. Oh, what helps when you don't do that to me? It's constantly updating, which is, good to see that it's given us that information, but I'm going to find Keppel again. There it is. All right, Cedar Keppel. James Ashby actually got quite high. Those are pretty big numbers, I'm guessing this would be the Labor crony, and I'm guessing that is the we might actually have to Hutton Nigel. Yep, Liberal. So as predicted, Labor have lost out pretty big everywhere. I'm guessing this is the Labor Party. That's a pretty solid 30% they're getting all across the board. Wow. It would have been pretty interesting to see what James Ashby would do. I'm not going to say too much. I spent a little bit of time around James Ashby when he was here. I have some concerns. Like the fact that he runs around saying he come up with a cartoon idea, for example. When, I'm still waiting for him to say, look, come on, is that guy in Townsville? It'd be nice for James to say that. And I think that's where, I come across a lot of people who have worked within One Nation and don't have a lot of nice things to say about them because they kind of grab your ideas and run away. So, yeah. Did we have any comments there of people saying, Malcolm Roberts is running for the Senate, mate. So he's a senator. So his will be coming out. I think May was when it's predicted that we'll be seeing a federal election, which will obviously give us the opportunity to pick your federal member and your Senate as well. So we'll have two tickets to consider there. There'll be a considerable amount of research going in there. I think I'm pretty confident Malcolm Roberts is up for. Or was he in last time? I have to check that because the Senate, you get a 6-year stint, I think it is, with the Senate, and they do it every 3 years. So 50% of the Senate gets changed out each year. So I can't remember if Malcolm Roberts is actually running this time around or if he ran last time. I have a feeling he ran last time. I think it might be Pauline Hanson who's up. Can't remember now. I know George Christensen ran for it last time. I'll have to check that. I'll get back to you. What else? Liberals stated the jab tyranny. There you go. Well, I'm guessing you meant started, but yeah. Well, that's it. ScoMo played a political game. Antic is South Australia. Broadbent is is that an area? There's Broadwater. Yeah, get some more medicine. Get some more medicine from the liquor store. No worries, mate. No worries. Yeah, it's important to self-medicate. No, I did not just say that. I'm just joking. Of course, just like the disclaimer at this thing says, this is all purely for entertainment purposes. You shouldn't take anything I say outside of entertainment value. All right. So, any other areas? Hi, I'm from Magnetic Island. G'day, Tina. How are you? I think I know you. Are you the Tina I'm thinking of? If you are, let me know. Were you there in Canberra with us? No worries, mate. Only swings left and right, nothing. Yeah, toilet tennis. We've just had a giant game of toilet tennis. 75% of Australia is still happy to play toilet tennis. So, Broadbent is Victoria MP. Okay, cool. We're looking at the Queensland. Victoria's got. You guys are doing a council election. Is that correct, Valerie? Can you fill me in a little bit there? If I go to here, you got Victorian councillors here. Broadbent must be a subsidiary of one of these others then. Might have to point me in the right direction there. Sorry. But anyway, it's a little bit outside of my field of knowledge, that one. So, yes. Good to see you again, Tina. Good to see you watching. Let us know when you're back over on the mainland. We'll have to catch up. Gladstone Shire? Are we talking the Queensland state election here? Gladstone, yes, Gladstone. I remember Gladstone. I was there once, a long time ago. Okay, so Butcher Glen. It'd be nice if they put the parties here and help a brother out, wouldn't it? You know, I'm going to guess this is Liberal again. Getting my vowels all mixed up again. Gives me the butchers at the Glen Shopping Centre. Thank you. For Gladstone MP. Oh no, that looks like Labor. It's red. Red means stop. Doesn't seem to specifically. Yeah, that looks Labor. So unfortunately, you guys are stuck in a Labor turd hole. Sorry, guys. It's a great regret that I have to share that information with you, buddy. Yeah, I'm guessing that'd be a Liberal guy. So yeah, that's sorry, Wayne. My condolences, mate. My condolences. So you know, it hasn't been a complete fucking wipeout, sadly. All right, what else we got here? Yes, Jared Rennick is running, Terry. Very true. Yep, it's Victorian. Yep, cool. Rockhampton got an independent. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at Rocky then. So Rockhampton, we got a Marshall Craig here. Let's hope I spelt that right. Oh, it's not looking good. Yeah, it was double L. Marshall Craig. Oh, you poor bastard's got Labor as well. Eek. That's disgusting, isn't it? That doesn't make your skin crawl. Kirkland, Donna Kirkland. Liberal was your runner up there. And Margaret Strelo. Well, I remember all those letters. Probably not. Thank you for correcting me. She was an independent and she did quite well. So there's your independent that you were talking about. Unfortunately, not enough to even wipe out Kirkland, you know. But, you know, you poor bastards are stuck in a Labor situation. And Labor seem to be struggling to get over 30% anywhere you go. Like there's, you know, one third, you know, less than one third of the population are still completely brainwashed, you know, by free gifts and the odd RDO because the union says Labor's okay. Yeah. Even though they're the ones stopping you going fishing, they're the ones who fucked your smokes, they're the ones who, you know, tax the shit out of a, you know, a sip every now and then. I find it astounding that anybody could still support the Labor Party. They are just, you know, it really is just mindless. They give me stuff, you know. How about a Caboolture? That almost sounds like Caboolture or whatever it is that you know, that new crazed fermented drink. Not on my list. What was the actual electorate, mate? Or are we in? Remember, we're talking about state Queensland here. We just did New South Wales Council election. Labor out in my LGA independent in. That's good. That's good. In a sustainable Australian party. There you go. No, yeah, it's in the council. There's a lot of seats that people are just not contesting. Like people can't be bothered getting up and running for the council. I think running for council is probably one of the easier ones to attempt. You know, the more and more I learn about politics, that's the easier seat to get in. You know, you don't. There's quite a few very less than intellectual people getting in there, especially when I look at our Townsville City Council. There's some pretty stupid people in there. You know. There you go. So, is that your own party that you've created there, Aussie Trader? Maybe shoot me a bit of an email explaining what's going on there, buddy. Maybe you can come on the podcast and tell us about it. Sure, probably played lose our sovereignty by 2034. Is something about it. Yeah, I don't see it happening either. Kava is a Fed troll. Okay. He wants to know if you're referring to him. Okay. Seems like you guys got something going on there. Whit Sundays, that's a good one. Yeah. I wonder how well our former mayor did. Or their for Julie Hall. Oh, that's a bit disappointing. I was really hoping to see Julie get a little bit more results there. Obviously, a lot of dumbasses still read the local rag. Wow, that's a pretty big victory for Amanda Cam there. Let's find out who she is. Looking very liberal. Yep, that's a liberal website if ever I seen one. And she looks like she smashed it out of the park. You know, again, better than obviously the Labor crony, but very unfortunate. I was really hoping that Julie Hall would do a little bit better than that. She's a lovely lady, you know. Had a yarn with her myself and done a cartoon for her as well. Julie Hall's a great person, is my opinion. Don't know her that well, but in the encounters that I've had, she's stand up. So it's very disappointing. I think this really says a lot about how much people hate the Labor Party up here in the northern regions in particular. Like when you look at Gladstone, as I understand it, is pretty much a mining town. So there's obviously a lot of Labor and union there. Is probably the only thing that kept that drop kick in his seat. What else have we got here? Understanding. Yeah. Well, populist cocaine. That's what the greenies want more of that. I think it helps you fuck children better. I don't know. Yep. A little bit more on that later. It's 100% for something I said, so I appreciate it. I'm not sure which one. Sorry, these comments are a little bit behind. Have we got any other electorates we want to have a quick look at, or we'll just keep moving along with a few of the things that I've got here? Tell me how I can contact you, mate. The best way is via that street. I'm going blank. I'll just bring it up so I don't have to think. I'll just here. That's the best way to contact me. I'm going to reiterate this again because there are some people who for now are going to remain nameless because I'm trying not to embarrass people. But seriously, 15 fucking messages to Facebook after I said last week on Friday. I don't check it that much, the person who is checking it is getting really fucking annoyed. So look, seriously, just think about what it is you're sending. And if it's important, send it to my email. That's where I look. I'm not looking at a lot of the comments and things. I don't have the time. There's a lot of shit, especially when somebody sends 15 fucking messages via Facebook. That's a bit much, don't you think? That's like stalking territory. Like have a think about what it looks like on the other side. So I just thought I'd put that out there to some of the people who are doing that. So yeah, best way to contact me, North Queensland Freedom Network at Proton Mail, especially if you want to be a guest, if you've got a story that you've researched. So like 15 random fucking things that you found on the internet that, piqued your adrenal gland at that particular instance isn't what we're looking for. We're looking for good quality stories or, things that need to be brought out into the light. And obviously I can't get to everything, but anyway, let's have a look. The Courier Mail reckons Queensland election. Stephen Miles makes early morning call to David Crisafulli, apparently. Defiant in a speech to party faithful on Saturday night that critics labelled pathetic. Stephen Miles has nothing this morning has this pathetic. Stephen Miles has this morning called his successor. He's finally admitted it, apparently. So I might, I think I had a video going here. Let's have a look at what I got in my video bank. I'm going to change my folder back now. Ripe opportunity for a sip, isn't it? Sunday. Thank you all for attending the Church of Batty. Blood of Christ. I don't know. Sorry, allow me to update that. Nectar of the Gods. Much better, I think. I'm more in favor of Nectar of the Gods than drinking blood of Christ. Is it just me? Or did anybody else walk into church as a child, and go, hang on, you want me to eat the guy and you want me to drink the guy, and think there was something wrong about that? Personally, it's a little bit cannibalistic in my mind, although I didn't know the word cannibalistic at the time. I honestly thought eating the guy and drinking the guy, and hang on, did he die 2,000 years ago? What kind of preservatives are they putting in that shit? Maybe I'm taking this to a whole new level, but I just thought I'd throw that out there, So sips to the nectar of the gods. To me, that's, birds and bees, nectar, I'm going with that a little bit more. I feel more comfortable with that. Where is it? There was a video. Did it not come through? Obviously, there's a bit of defiance. But there was a video. I know I had it. Just give me a second to see if I can figure out where the hell it ended up. Another one of them slam bam. Let's get this stuff done. That one. Save that one there. Oh, I don't need it twice. I don't need it 3 times. That's what happens when you click the same button so many times. And I got that one too. Okay, cool. So I just forgot to click one more button. That was my problem. So this is what Sky News had to say. Look,
will form government in Queensland for the first time since 2012 after party leader David Crisafulli swept to election victory after a gruelling 4-week campaign. Outgoing Premier Stephen Miles is accused of failing to properly concede defeat in his speech and hinted at ambitions to remain party leader. Queensland political reporter Harry Clark joins us. We've both had a late night on the hustings. Harry, how did the vote count end up? Take us through it.
Well, they did arrive late last night at 48 seats, which is obviously enough to form a majority. That's the LNP, of course. It was, as you say, Andrew, a gruelling campaign, 4 weeks up and down Queensland, and it looked from the get-go like it was going to be a comfortable LNP victory, but the polls certainly started to tighten as recently as Friday morning. It showed that Labor had closed the gap, increasing their two-party preferred vote to up 2.5%, and the LNP's down. Stephen Miles snuck ahead as preferred Premier, 46 to 41%, I think was the final figure. But as the votes came in, it became clearer and clearer through the night that the LNP were going to get over the line. The Premier-elect, David Crisafulli, you could see just how chuffed he was in his victory speech. Labor has won 11 of the last 12 elections. I suppose that now means the LNP's won 2 of the last 13, and Labor's been in government for 30 of the past 35 years, but that's all about the change. David Crisafulli, extremely disciplined politician, stayed on message all throughout the campaign. He one of those 4 main election issues of health, costing, house of living, and crime to be the centre, the battlegrounds for this election campaign, and he was consistently asking for a fresh start, for Queenslanders to vote for hope over fear. He stayed on message right until the very end.
Sorry, I'm muted again. Thank you, Tyler, for coming in. So, yeah, as I was saying, sorry, as you can see, this guy is a full-blown lover of Crisafulli. I think he's got that straw firmly up in his butt crack, giving him a good, probably a bit of a reach around while he's sucking on that straw. But as he says, he's just stuck to his 4 points. And if you looked at any of the videos that Crisafulli put out, it pretty much was just he repeated the same thing over and over again, So anyway, let's see what our new Queensland Premier has to say.
Tonight, Queenslanders have voted for hope over fear.
Okay, a guy who used fear as his main campaign. And I just want to remind that this is what he put in your mailbox. It's fear campaign. And he says they voted for hope over fear. Come on, mate. That's a bit of a tall stretch.
They have voted for a fresh start, and they have voted for a majority LNP government.
A little disturbing. I would prefer them to be a minority LNP government, but anyway.
The LNP's campaign focused mainly of those 4 points on youth crime. It has been a huge issue across Queensland for going on 10 years now. I can remember when it really started to tee off in Townsville when I was working at the Cairns Post back in 2015, and since then it has just been relentless in the far north, or in the north.
I just want to emphasize there that he said he started off in Townsville at the Cairns Post. Fascinating, don't you think? Because the Cairns Post is in fucking Cairns, 370 odd kilometers north of here. That's disturbing that he would say that, because it's a Townsville Bulletin here in Townsville. So yeah, Christopher Foley was here in Townsville. Maybe that's where he's gotten confused. But I just got to hear that again, because that just sounded ridiculous.
Back in 2015, and since then, on 10 years now. I can remember when it really started to tee off in Townsville when I was working at the Cairns Post back in 2015, and since then it has just been relentless in the far north, or in the northern capital of Townsville, and right across the state. Towns like Toowoomba and Goondiwindi are the regional areas that have faced the brunt of youth crime, but all across southeast Queensland as well. And David Crisafulli has centred his campaign on that and coming down hard on criminals, young criminals and adult criminals. He had this policy of adult crime, adult time, where young people charged with the most serious offences such as murder, manslaughter, break and enter, violent robberies will be sentenced as though they're adults. And that message really hit a chord with so many people around Queensland that the LNP was the one that was going to address this problem. And David Crisafulli, he really went out on a limb midway through the campaign, saying that, well, he's been saying for months now that the true measure of a government's performance in its handling of youth crime is the total number of victims. The last figure to come through was the 23-24 financial year. The total number of victims was just shy of 290,000. David Crisafulli said that if that number did not come down within his first term, then he would resign as Premier. Right at the very last minute, he pegged that total number of crime victims to population growth, which grew, which attracted a fair bit of criticism late in the campaign. But when he was announced, or when the numbers came in and it was clear that the LNP was going to form a John-Marie, he reminded the LNP faithful at the W Hotel in Brisbane, where...
Let's skip through. This guy's fucking annoying me. All right. What snippet have they grabbed here?
Sworn in.
What history will show is that tonight was the turning corner of the youth crime crisis. And it'll be the turning corner to mean that there are fewer victims in this state, and by Christmas, adult crime, adult time will be law.
That LNP victory spells the end of 10 years of Labor government in Queensland, ever since Campbell Newman was wiped out by Labor under Anastasia Palaszczuk in 2015.
Very true, T2.
Labor faithful at the HQ last night at Marumba Downs, which is in Stephen Miles' home electorate of Marumba in Brisbane's deep north. You could sense in the room that there were people daring to believe, especially after that last poll came in, indicating that the margin had closed significantly. And
hang on, I just got to go back just a second. Have a look at the eyes of this guy. If he's not coked up, I don't know what is. Like, you know, as he walks through here,
there were people daring to believe.
Shut that guy. Look at his eyes. If he's not on something, I don't know who is.
The Labor Party could very well hang on to plenty of seats in southeast Queensland, which they ultimately did. They fended off a big charge from the Greens in inner city seats like Cooper, Miller, Greenslopes and McConnell. And indeed, the Greens lost a seat, being the first term Green seat of South Brisbane. Amy McMahon there will be shown the door by voters. But there was some jubilation in the room. Some people thought that there might have been a glimmer of hope of Labor defying the odds and beating the LNP, but it wasn't to be. They look like doing enough to seriously disrupt the LNP's chances of forming a majority government. That was not to be the case, but
Yeah, I don't know
in
about
any
Valium.
case, the Labor leader, Premier Stephen Miles, outgoing Premier Stephen Miles, he was accused of a graceless concession speech, if you would call it a concession speech. He did acknowledge that the Labor would not be forming government. It was unclear whether he had called David Crisafulli to concede defeat, and instead of the
I reckon
gracious
T2.
style, congratulating the opposition, the opponent in his speech, he continued the attacks on David Crisafulli. Have a listen.
Queenslanders know what I believe and what I stand for. While David Crisafulli ducked and weaved and tied himself into the tiniest small target Queensland has ever seen. Never before has a party taken to an election.
Hang on, I want to see that again. Look at his face.
While David Crisafulli ducked and weaved and tied himself into the tiniest small target Queensland has ever seen. Never before has a party taken to an election with so little detail of their agenda.
What a pile of horse shit, and perfect place to leave this monkey's face. Like, at the end of the day, the Labor Party are just as good at providing nothing. The only thing you guys threw was big buckets of my money back at me. You come into my house, you mug me, you steal my money through taxes, and then you go, oh, here's a little bit of it back. You guys are the most abusive partner you could ever see. We're going to go through it one day. I've been meaning to do it for ages, but is my government an abusive partner? You go to the abusive partner website and you go and take the test and you put your government in there and they come up a whopping abusive partner. That's for sure. This guy, wow, never before has a government come to the table with nothing. Bullshit. None of you guys ever come to the table with anything. All you do is propaganda campaigns. Like we said, you come through with fear. Don't vote for the other guy because, you know, like they're so dangerous. You didn't tell us shit about what you're going to do, either of yous. You know, you just tried to fucking buy us off, you cock knocker.
This election finishes with many more questions about the LNP's plans than answers.
Well, there you have it. Very unhappy. Very unhappy. It's almost as if he actually thought he was going to win. I guess it's a special delusional sort of mindset that you have to be in particularly in the Labor Party, where you actually thought you had a hope in hell. I mean, just go and have a look at his Twitter feeds, and the guy was getting smashed, absolutely smashed. Yeah, I'm glad he's gone. Like, I thought Anastasia piece of shit was a fucking horrible train wreck, but that guy was even worse. Like, honestly, you know, I reckon not so much choke, maybe change that to cokehead. I reckon he's probably, you know, alongside with the Greens there on let's legalize coke because that's what we're doing in Parliament these days, you know. And again, I seen an article a little while ago where apparently the most drugs is being taken in Canberra. Are you surprised? You know, they went through the sewage, and could you imagine having that job, having to test the sewage for how much fucking narcotics people are taking? But you know what a load of crap. Exactly, a big load of crap. They went through it to find out who were the biggest cokeheads, and the biggest cokeheads were the people in Canberra. Any wonder the Greens are fucking the ones voting for it, you know. And you know what I've come to sort of to see in this political field is, you know, the One Nation push the extreme ideas to see if the Liberal Party will take them on board. If people are accepting what One Nation are pushing and what could be considered extreme, then the Liberal Party will bring that on board. And the Greens do the same for the Labor Party. They push the most extreme leftist shit they can. Can we get it across the line? And then we'll adopt that into the Labor Party. Like, the Liberal and Labor Party are so fucking far removed from the general populace that they need these, you know, secondary parties now to try and figure out which way they should go. Yeah, Stephen Miles. I don't know. What do you reckon, guys? Is it time to take Townsville Bulletin and Channel 10 down for fail of the year and put up Stephen Miles as fail of the week? What do you reckon? That's a question I'll put to the people. It's up to you guys what you reckon. Can you please star all the responses for me, Tyler? Speaking of Tyler, I should give him his moment, glory. We'll step away from Australian politics for a little moment, and I'm going to present to you something very disturbing. Tyler's taken the path of the rap hippity hop, wiggity whack sort of stuff these days, and I don't mind a little bit of some of the earlier stuff back in the days myself. I'm a man of very diverse tastes, although heavy metal and hard rock is my preferred sort of medium, that I'll listen to just about anything. And Tyler and I have been sitting around listening to Eminem lately, with his new album, getting a bit of a chuckle because it's the best thing he's done in probably 15 years, his latest album. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it now after selling this.
Detroit! What up, though? So look, I wrote down a few things I wanted to say. I love you too. Thank you. I'm here tonight for a couple of important reasons. As most of you know, the city of Detroit and the whole state of Michigan mean a lot to me. And going into this election, the spotlight is on us more than ever, and I think it's important to use your voice. So I'm encouraging everybody to get out and vote, please. I also think that people shouldn't be afraid to express their opinions. And I don't think anyone wants an America where people are worried about retribution or what people will do if you make your opinion known. I think Vice President Harris supports a future for this country where these freedoms and many others will be protected and upheld. And here to tell you much more about that, President Barack Obama.
Well, I don't think I can bear to watch any more of that. Watching it, I'm like, he had his hat covering his eyes. I have to wonder, was that I took the money? And there was another observation I'd just like to make. We'll come back to this.
Your opinion known. People are worried. And I don't think anyone can be afraid to express anything. Everybody to get out and vote, please. Election, the spotlight is on us more than ever, and I think it's important to use your voice. So I'm encouraging everybody to get out and vote, please. For a couple of important reasons. As most of you know, the city of Detroit and the whole state of Michigan mean a lot to me.
You notice that? He's was that a bullshit? Or what really meant more to him was the paycheck that he got for this? I don't know. I'm questioning it because he doesn't really say a lot, other than I think Harris is the best at the moment. I'm starting to think he got paid for that. I honestly reckon he got paid. But, maybe it's just that, years of listening to some Eminem's early albums, I don't want to believe that he's sold out, but he clearly did sell out, that's for sure, Good luck to your sales going down. I don't think I would imagine there'd be more people that would vote Trump that would enjoy his messages than the leftards, because you listen to some of the things he said in some of them early albums, wow, I don't see leftists getting on board with his humorous methods of conveying a point. Wow. Very disappointing indeed. Very disappointing indeed. So, what can I say? Let's keep moving. So, Queensland state election, the 2023, 2024, what this result means for Albo. Well, considering he's not even in the country, as usual. He's nowhere to be seen. The Liberal National Party, David Crisafulli, will be the next Premier of Queensland as Labor is kicked out of power after more than 9 years in office. Stephen Miles' Labor Party has lost its majority and will be unable to form a minority government. The only question remaining is whether Mr. Crisafulli will head a majority government, with LNP strategists increasingly confident this will be the case. So when was this? So I was 23 hours ago. So obviously they were jumping the gun. It looks like he actually has. Wow, that's it. Thanks, guys. That was, as you can see, I just grabbed the first few articles I could see. Miles finally concedes defeat. Despite facing criticism for not officially conceding on Saturday night and stating the count was too close to call, Mr. Miles called his successor, David Crisafulli, on Sunday, aka today. According to Sky News, the LNP have secured 49 seats to Labor's 34, with 6 seats remaining in doubt. While Labor's election defeat was expected, Mr. Miles has faced criticism over his election night speech and questions as to whether he will continue to lead the party in opposition. The guy is a complete failure, and I can't believe he was still going anywhere. I mean, can I? Well, let's just have a quick review of what we avoided here in. Actually, I don't have it ready to rock. Don't worry about it. Him posing with trannies. That's what we avoided. More transsexual crap. Speaking of which, transgender man charged with attempting to rape woman outside a Sydney cathedral. Remember, all you Greenie voters, all you Labor voters, just remember, this is what you vote for. Male who claimed to be a female. I like that. That's the proper way to state this. A male who claims to be a female allegedly tried to rape a proper woman, as she walked past St. Mary's Cathedral in the heart of Sydney earlier this week. It's definitely one of those churches to me that says this has been here for a lot longer than some people would like to admit. You look at particularly the pattern here, might do a podcast on this kind of construction at some point, it almost looks a bit like the Disneyland fucking castle, doesn't it? But anyway, Benjamin Charles Jones, 47, they even gave him his proper name, was arrested in Surrey Hills Police Station on Wednesday and charged with take detain person with intent to obtain advantage, stalk / intimidate with intent to cause physical harm and attempted sexual intercourse without consent. Police allege that's an interesting one. Attempted sexual intercourse without consent. Does that mean like, hey, baby, what are you doing in a place like this? Is that attempted sexual intercourse without consent? That's a very ambiguous term, I think. Anyway, police alleged Jones, who was also wanted on an outstanding arrest warrant for breaching a community corrections order, attempted to sexually assault a 31-year-old woman outside the cathedral at about 11:50 on Tuesday night. On Thursday, Jones appeared in Downing Central Local Court, where he said, "I identify as a transgender and queer. I had nothing to do with it." There you go. That you're going to see a lot more of this shit. You're going to see a lot more of this shit, because it is now the ultimate get out of jail free card. And let's see how far they can push the get out of jail free card. I'm a tranny, fucking, I'm a queer. You're just being, I can do whatever I want sort of shit because I identify. Let's see how far this goes. Jones, who was bleeding from the facial scratch and goes by the name Willow. Oh, God, doesn't that? I really like that movie, Willow, and you just put a really foul bile in the back of my throat by using it in such a context. Was told to be quiet by his lawyer and the magistrate. The magistrate and his own lawyer said, "Shut your mouth, you cockhead." Oh, man. If only they provide a little bit more detail, like, this kind of journalism is horrifically brief, and it really doesn't tell you a lot. Last month he was given a 12-month community corrections order after being found guilty in Bateman's Bay Local Court for failing to comply with reporting conditions and providing false information, like perhaps I identify as transgender and queer. Would that be false information as well? Oh, God. Sorry to laugh at tragedy, but what else can you do in the face of such lunacy? Oh, just because it's there, Muslim senator chickens out on Islamic party. I've got to see that. This is a make it up as we go along, ladies and gentlemen. In July, Fatima Payman was kicked out of the Labor Party because she sided with her Coreligionists. Not seen that word before. In a war nobody cares about in the Middle East. Who wrote the notice? Okay, cool. We're going to watch more of the noticer, I think. I don't know that nobody cares about it, but it shouldn't be a big issue here in Australia, but sadly it is. She threatened to set up her own party to represent Muslims, but this week she chickened out and announced the formation of a boring nothing party called Australia's Voice. Yeah, righto. Australia's Voice. So as an Australian, if I send you an email telling you what I think you should do, would you listen? Then what is even the point? So ex-Labor Senator launched a new political party with no policy positions, and which will not require candidates to oppose the war in Gaza, the issue that saw her join the crossbench. Then what is even the point of it all? At least the lunatic with the horse teeth was somewhat amusing. Interesting. Payment is just so frighteningly dull. Apparently, it looks like Senator Pauline Hanson has sent in a quick thing here to Peter Dutton, as well as the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese. So it's gone to Albo, but we've CC'd in Peter Dutton, Penny Wong Number, and Senator Simon Birmingham, who I'm not 100% familiar with. I am writing to raise an urgent matter concerning Senator Payman's citizenship and the implications it has for her position as a senator, and subsequently her announced involvement in forming a parliamentary political party. As outlined in Section 44 of the Constitution, any individual who holds dual citizenship or allegiance to a foreign power is disqualified from being chosen or sitting as a senator. And I think that's the allegiance to a foreign power, and that should clear out quite a lot of Parliament, really, because she certainly gives more of a shit about Middle East, and if that's your thing, that's fine. I'm glad you're passionate about it. Get the fuck out of Australia. Stop taking my tax dollars to go and fight your war. You want to deal with that? Go there. I don't think we should have anything to do with this. So this actually looks like a pretty extensive article. I'm going to drop that in Telegram for people who want to read further. That's pretty interesting stuff. Go nuts. All right, let's continue. So this is something that Carolyn sent us. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to also put that into Telegram for people who want to get involved. Save the truth, stop the bill, defend our discourse. So, particularly those of us here in Queensland who've just had a state election. I know it's more of a federal issue, but, probably not a bad time to remind them, as they just take office. All us freedom fighters out there are not going to put up with this shit. And you might want to throw your 2 bobs in for protecting freedom of speech. So, you can sign the petition here. Have a look. Off you go. Also, another one she sent me. Thank you very much. The Port Hedland motion. I'm going to paste that. Also available in Telegram. Town of Port Hedland Council motion. And you know what? For those of you who don't want to deal with it, I'm going to drop it in the comments here as well. I'll drop all of them in there for you. Say, make it a bit easier. because I just know that X and some of these other platforms, these comments won't come up with. So while I'm on the fly, and so I don't forget, Telegram's just a nice, easy way to get to everyone. You know, if everyone gets Telegram, I guess. It's a bit rude. I know I'm forcing you to do shit, you know, by going, hey, Telegram's easy for me. Can you help a brother out, you know? So anyway, this is an opportunity to help activate your council. So, you know, it's a good thing to try and, you know, mate. Look, these guys earn a shitload of money, whether they're in council, whether they're in state or federal. Make them fucking earn it, you know? Make them earn it, as far as I'm concerned. And I just also like to remind Townsville City Council, you've got a week to answer my email regarding the National Measurement Act and the Fluoridation Act. I'll have more on that to come. That's a very good one. So far, deafening silence. Christian Price. I emailed every fucking councillor, including the mayor, and Christian Price was the only one that actually sent me I acknowledge receipt of your email. Everybody else has ignored me. So don't think I'm going away. Don't think for a second I am going away. So, alrighty then. I think I managed to smash this out pretty quickly for the most part, but we've got some videos here. So there's a few things that, actually, let's stop sharing that. A few things that are, you know, come my way. Most of it is, you know, can't come through in a video form. We'll just go through it systematically so I don't fuck something up. Mr. Canavan.
Gap and scandal to me that we are spending all this money, all these resources, and we're not even calculating probably the most important variable for any Australian in this debate. That is what will be the price of power they pay at the end of all this. You can't tell us or any Australians what that will be.
I can't, no.
You can't. I mean, I find that unbelievable. So no one is looking at this within the Australians. Like, what will be the price of power in 5 years' time? I think that's what people want to know. And I know you're going to have a lot of caveats, but when people read the headlines about renewables being the cheapest form of power, I think what people have had the expectation, understandable expectation, given what their leaders have said to them, is that that will mean we'll have cheaper power prices. But you're saying you cannot guarantee that the current government policy settings which you model will deliver lower power prices?
I can't guarantee that, no. And what I would say is we try to be quite clear about the communication of our message, which is that the integrated system plan, which considers these things, generation and storage and major transmission upgrades, is the lowest cost pathway. It doesn't refer to whether it's cheaper or more expensive for that wholesale component, and it explicitly doesn't consider other parts of the consumer energy bill.
Right, yeah.
Oh, maybe shiver there. Yeah. Turn that aircon down. Oh, it's true. It's dropped down to 20 degrees. Any wonder I'm cold. All right. Okay. So I seen you there, Robin. G'day. How you going? Where was I going? So I might quickly just chuck another one of these videos in here. So we have which way to go? Which way to go? So, well, it's next on the list. So let's have a look at it. This is something Tracy sent me. Church of Shincheonji or something. It's a bit of a long one, so we'll just watch the first little bit of it, and we'll hear a little bit more about it because I've never heard of this. It's a bit out there.
Every aspect of my life was being controlled.
Is this a cult?
Universities have become recruiting hotspots.
We know who they're targeting.
Ultimately takes over your life.
You need to be careful. This could be the devil trying to pull you away.
Can I ask you some questions about Shincheonji? Are you the leader of Shincheonji?
Parents just need to be very aware that their kids are not safe. In cities across Australia, there are growing concerns about a highly secretive religious movement that experts describe as a cult. It's called Shincheonji, a church that former members say came to control their lives, their money, even their relationships. It originates in South Korea and worships a man named Lee Man-hee. Members are taught he will save them from the end times. Some donate thousands of dollars to this cause. Until now, there has been no direct way to contact anyone in Shincheonji locally, leading us on a 4-month investigation to find answers. You're about to hear first-hand accounts of students who have escaped the highly secretive church, and a plea from a father desperate to get his daughter out. You'll see Shincheonji recruiting in plain sight as a former member blows the whistle on their deceptive tactics. And we tracked down the local leader to put these claims to him.
Can I ask you some questions about Shincheonji?
We're in Perth, where it's estimated Shincheonji has more than 300 active members. This building on Cambridge Street in Leederville, a 10-minute drive from the city centre. Windows blacked out, students come and go at all hours of the day and night. At first glance, unassuming, but for the last year, this has been the headquarters of Shincheonji.
This group has just become 300 plus members within Perth, and about 80% of the people inside their families have no idea.
There's a lot of secrecy, there's a lot of spontaneity, people disappearing at all hours of the night.
The classroom buildings are random buildings that are rented. The building is unmarked, the doors are locked, cameras are secured around the outside, curtains are always drawn. Teachers are always monitoring the building facilities to make sure that anyone who is trying to speak out or to oppose the group is being watched carefully.
A cult can be defined as an organisation which denies you the opportunity of individuality, make your own choices, and you become sublimated to this sort of group think of an organisation which ultimately takes over your life.
Matt Thomas is a former member of Shincheonji. The psychology student from South Africa says he was recruited on his university campus in 2019.
Matt, how did it begin and how did you first become part of this group?
They would have recruiters that were disguised as university students. So I felt like I was in a sense of, I was in a community of other people that are going on the journey together. They started with just targeting the university campuses and bringing as many, what they call the building blocks, the strongest people to come in first and then be able to build from there.
Look, Shincheonji is probably one of the fastest growing groups that we're aware of. Most people, if you go along into one of those groups, you'd find a lot of them are of the Asian background, but there is certainly something to be gained by trying to target Caucasian people.
The classes started off going twice a week on the campus, and gradually it's more and more time that they require. And what I didn't realize is that there was a whole lot of strategies that were being utilized to capture me deeper and deeper into their processes.
Australia could be at war with China.
There are growing fears tonight about a new COVID subvariant.
Cults really breed on uncertainty. They love it because they offer simple solutions to complex problems, and they create some sort of level of connection for people who are feeling threatened by what's going on around them in the world.
I had no idea about what a cult was. So I started lying to my parents. I started telling them that I was not doing anything Bible related.
It's really grown. It has a strong presence around the campus environment or precinct, and it is something which seems to attract people in considerable numbers.
Their ideal vision is to take over all of Australia, basically, and that's what we were taught. That's also what we believed.
The impact spread to family who are outside the church. We spoke with the father of a current member. For the last few years, Jim Spencer has watched his daughter withdraw from her family. He fears he's losing her.
Jim, are you concerned that this group has stolen your daughter away from you?
It devastates me that we had this well-structured family environment and relationship, and that is basically gone. A ghost of a shell walks in my house. She's not the person she used to be. She's going to uni. She's met new friends. She's going to a Bible study with university friends. How can that go wrong? And it built up. A few months later, it suddenly was 2 days a week, 2 evenings a week, then 3 evenings a week. And they just hire a class using someone's student card. It's never booked under the group's name, because when I started challenging all the unis and Murdoch and Curtin about these people are using your rooms, they had no record, nothing at all.
Are you fearful that they're trying to steal kids away from their families?
The kids are falling out of uni. They have physically decided that this church is the ultimate thing to do in life, and they've dropped out of their uni courses.
Do you think Shincheonji needs to be shut down?
Unfortunately, just like you get phone calls from people who pertain to be experts at certain fields and wanting you to spend money with them and they're not qualified, I think the art of the con man for many years has fallen into the let's form a religion, let's get tax-free status, and let's get a whole heap of people handing 10% of our money to us.
What are your biggest concerns as a parent?
Look, parents just need to be very aware that their kids are not, they're not safe.
Muted again. Sorry. Thank you, Tyler. Look, I've just dropped the link there in the comments. It's also available on Telegram for anybody who wants to watch more. I don't want to sit here and watch the whole 15 minutes, but it gives you a bit of an idea of some of the things that are going on. And it comes back to, what I was saying with the Islamic extremist thing, and the universities really need to get their shit together, because they've become breeding grounds for these kind of strange ideological constructs, whether it be generally religion based, as seems to be one of the more disturbing ones of them. Spirituality is the way to go as far as I'm concerned. That's just my two bobs. You can do whatever the hell you like, but universities become a breeding ground for this, but they're also become a huge breeding ground for Islamic extremism as well, as pointed out in the book My Journey Out of Islamic Extremism. Again, you know what, I might just quickly grab that there, because you can get that from archive.org. Great website. I highly recommend archive.org. I quite enjoyed the book. It's called Radical. My Journey Out of Islamist Extremism. I'm just going to bring it up here. Internet's obviously under a bit of pressure at the moment due to the fact that we're doing a podcast and multiple streams happening in the house at the same time. And hey, it's the one thing the Labor government was actually right about, was perhaps we should just get fiber optic all over the fucking country. It's the only thing I reckon they've ever been right about in their fucking lives. And if only they had done that in the first place, we wouldn't be dealing with such shit internet, because now they're slowly drip feeding that concept in. Oh my god. Copy link address, that'll be quicker. I'm going to punch that into Telegram too for anybody who wants to read that book, but it clearly identifies universities and their horrific far left ideologies and openness to far left ideologies. And everybody's just my friend. Like, come on. I really wish the world was that way. Like, it'd be nice, but it's fucking not. Like, come on. Wait a moment and try again. It's not going to... Something went weird with fake book then. Something always seems to go weird with fake book. Anyway, yeah, I'll just... wrong thing. Too many bloody things up now. So that's the book there. you know, I highly recommend it. You know, all you've got to do is log in, you know, to create a free account, you know, because otherwise it goes to, you know, it just takes you to the back of the book. You know, it is a free thing to log into. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's a plethora of information. I found so much good shit on the Internet Archive, also known as archive.org. You know, so much material that you can acquire there for free. You know, great place to do it. I know not everybody's up for reading shit on the computer or reading shit on. Personally, I got a 10-inch tablet for reading these sorts of things. It's just, in an economic crisis that we're in, not everybody can afford to spend between $20 and $100 on a book, because some of the books I go for, they want $100 for the fucking things, you know. So I use my knowledge of the internet and computers to find cheaper, if not free, alternatives, and the archive.org is one of those. So yeah, definitely have a look at that. And you know, it just ties into the fact that universities are not a safe place. Really, when they, you know, that we ended on that note that your children are not safe. They're not safe from universities, they're not safe from the education system, which is better known as a socialist indoctrination system or leftist radical viewpoints, if anything. You know, it's just beyond a joke. So anyway, hang on, I'm going to clear out some of this shit because I've made a bit of a mess here of my studio, as in the StreamYard studio, because it's just I've got imported so many things that I've lost track of what's going on. Let's stop sharing that so I don't get confused again. All right, let's have a look. What was the next video on my list? So the city of Melbourne rocked by a parking fine scandal. Is anyone surprised?
Being rocked by a parking fine scandal. A whistleblower has told 9 News inspectors are being instructed to fine motorists even when there are problems with the sensors and the meters.
Reid Butler is live in the city with the exclusive details on this. Reid, what are the key allegations here?
Well, the most alarming claims, Alicia, are that there are those issues with the parking technology, but despite that, parking bosses within the council's fine division are instructing inspectors to ignore those issues and penalise motorists anyway. That is among several allegations in a letter that was actually sent to me in the post, along with a trove of photos showing parking inspectors' handheld devices, saying that a card's time had actually expired, even though it hadn't, and on the parking meter there was still credit remaining. So to put it simply, the tech is just not talking to each other, and that is resulting in innocent drivers being fined. Have a look.
They're a familiar sight on windshields across the CBD.
Fines galore. I estimate there's 4 or 5 fines a day.
At the front?
At the front.
But many fines are being issued despite tech problems, according to the whistleblower from within the council's parking branch.
The parking officers are being directed to continue booking motorists, even when the director and compliance lead know that the system is faulty.
The handheld devices carried by parking inspectors are showing bays are expired, even when the meters still have time on them. Here, the device says bay 34's expired at 4:12 p.m, despite the meter showing the bays in credit until 5 p.m. That's because the inspectors fine off what they see on their device. The whistleblower says the communication errors have been happening for 3 years, ever since new sensor and meter technology was introduced.
City of Melbourne Parking Director and Compliance Lead have failed to rectify this matter, and what is of more concern is the officers have spoken to them numerous times, and they have not informed officers to stop issuing fines.
The City of Melbourne denied inspectors' concerns are being ignored, but a spokesperson did admit to 9 News there have been problems. As with any new technology upgrade of this scale, there can be implementation issues, and Council has procedures in place to isolate and resolve these quickly.
Bullshit. 3 fucking years. Just remember, it was 3 years.
We absolutely can't trust that. One of the things that we actually want is for the Ombudsman to be given power to review any dispute.
We know parking fines are big business for any council, particularly so in the City of Melbourne. More than $40 million expected through the coffers this financial year in parking infringements alone.
Businesses say the fine heavy.
You know, something I want to also point out here. Like, you notice the camera work here, where, like, you know, generally this sort of stuff would be done, you know, a lot smoother. But look how rugged.
We know parking fines are big business for any council, particularly so in the city of Melbourne. More than 40
Shut
million.
this guy up. Notice this rocking thing going on. It's like they're trying to be amateur but professional at the same time. It looks shit.
These kinds of mistakes are scaring customers away.
Exacerbates the problem here with small business. Inspectors are doing their job, I understand that, but it's more about the City of Melbourne. Like, that's, for me, it's a money grab.
Contact the City of Melbourne if you think you've been wrongly fined. Reid Butler, 9 News.
I would have done that dissolve the other way. So they start
Melbourne,
in
if you
a
think you've been
blurry
wrongly fined.
scenario,
Reid Butler,
and
9
they focus
News.
in. I'd have done it the other way myself, you know, but that's just me. Obviously, they wanted to do their big reveal here, you know. So anyway, just some production little things that I notice, you know, shit that a lot of people don't see. I'm not the person you want to watch a movie with because I pick it apart something fierce, but you know, that's me. I look at the world for what it is, not what they're trying to make it, you know. And one of the things I like to try to point out to people who are willing to listen, because you know sometimes you don't want the movie magic ruined, but you know, I like to know how things work, and it's not just any one particular thing. Words, it's the audio, it's the visuals, it's how the camera says things. You know, there's a lot of artistic techniques being used on people, and if you don't understand how the techniques work, then you don't understand what's being done to your mind, because a lot of it will then end up in your subconscious as opposed to your consciousness. So in order to unravel the riddles that are being pushed out to you, you need to comprehend what is being done, you know, and particularly in the realm of film where things are very fast paced. You know, you need to understand what's happening, you know, because your subconscious is processing it. If you're not consciously aware of it, it becomes implanted in your mind and you don't know why. And you find yourself doing what I do, meditating, going, right, where did that fucking thought come from? Who put that there and how did it get there? You know, we are biological machines, whether you like to admit that or not, you know. And the more you look at things like simulation theory and apply that to technological and, you know, like, well, one of the things when learning about computers to realize, to learn is that a computer is the beginning point of robotics and a simulation of ourselves. You know, by understanding how the human body works, we then create machines that do a similar thing, hence robotics. But in a computer system, you know, the big tower over here, for instance, is kind of like your brain. You know, sensory inputs such as the mouse. This is a sensory input. You know, it moves things around. You know, same as the keyboard, the microphone, the camera. The camera is like the eyes. You know, this is like your ears. You know, you want to start thinking about the world in that manner. You know, and when we're looking at the media, they're using that technology. You know, and they're using that understanding of things. And it's important for people to start really thinking about how things work and how things are put together. So let's move on to the next one. This is a little bit more of a comedic piece than anything. I think Craig Kelly, and that was the name I was trying to find before, former Liberal Party dude who's, you know, trying to find himself in the political realm still, posted this, and I got a laugh out of it.
I'll be switching social media off for 24 hours on the 24th of October. Reason being is because it is a nasty piece of work. It is a nasty piece of work. I'll not kiss Scott Morrison.
Yet she's using social media to tell you that she's switching it off. Funny.
Ass, let's be honest about it. There's anti-vaxxers out there, that 20-30%, are the ones out there protesting on the streets and doing that sort of thing. I think you're going to find the rest of us coming at you lock, stock and barrel. The tide is going to turn on those anti-vaxxers out there and you are really going to feel the heat.
Than the freedom of the vaccinated. Really? Because they don't want to be playing Russian roulette with their own people's lives. That's why they're doing it. That is why they're doing it. The way out of lockdowns and restrictions is vaccinations, because there is nothing else on the table. Let's be honest about that. It's how we protect ourselves and it's how we protect each other. It's how we stand together. It's how we fight back. It is the only weapon we have. And we need to do everything we possibly can to keep ourselves safe, our kids safe, our grandchildren safe, and our friends and family. That's what we need to do. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made.
It has to happen from here. So start switching off X. And I can see the destruction that it does.
So I just chucked my Telegram handle into the comments there. I put it in the Telegram, but it seems somewhat pointless because you would have already found it. So it basically, if you just type North Queensland Freedom, one word, into Telegram, you should be able to find it. There's a direct link there. Of course, anybody still having trouble, just email me. I'm sure most people have figured out the email, although I did have a yarn with a fellow the other day who's like, I don't even know how to send a fucking email. I don't even want to bloody know. This technology shit sucks and nothing friggin' works. And he was having a good, it was a work-related incident as I lost about 2 hours waiting for technology to do its thing. Fundamentally, all we had to do was take the product, put it on my truck, and my truck would, and me being the driver, would drive said truck to where this product need to go. But instead we had to fuck around for 2 hours because a computer system, fortunately programmed by humans inadequately, couldn't get its shit right. So yeah, that bloke amused me. So hopefully, I mean, you've managed to master technology enough to be able to watch this show. I'm hoping you can figure out an email. Emails are definitely the best way to contact me. If you're having trouble and you want to be a part of the Telegram thing and you can't figure it out for whatever reason, just shoot me an email. I'll sort it out. I'll send you a link. But yeah, I definitely want to try to utilize Telegram a lot more, just because it's just easier for me to share things with people who want to take that extra initiative and go a little bit further with some of the stuff that I find. So Jackie Lambie, always there for a laugh. Speaking of which, politicians we want to have a bit of a laugh at. No, I'm looking at the wrong one. I want to be here. Lydia Thorpe got herself in a bit of shit this week, didn't she? That was pretty funny. Actually, I might come back to that because I'm going to see if I can get a copy of that video. So I might move on to another video while I'll see if I can fucking pull that one down because it was one of my things to do that never got done. It happens a bit. So millions of taxpayers unlawfully overcharged. Here's some more rip-offs.
New South Wales are in the crosshairs tonight. If you've had to register or renew a licence of any kind over the past 8 years, you have been overcharged. That's the admission from State Parliament today, with revelations millions of taxpayers have been footing the bill for surcharges that should never have been passed on.
When you tap your card, you trust you're being charged correctly, especially when the person charging you is the government. But that hasn't been so. They've revealed that Service and Revenue New South Wales have illegally charged customers over $144 million.
I'm absolutely flabbergasted and beyond belief that this process has been going on for 8 years.
During that time, the government departments have charged merchant fee surcharges on over 92 million transactions without the legal authority to do so. Someone registering a small car paid nearly $2 extra, renewing a licence for 3 years an extra 71 cents, a marriage certificate 29 cents. Those paying parking fees and speeding tickets also overcharged. The average person forking out an extra $30 in total.
The question is quite clear. How on earth was this allowed to go on?
Claiming the previous government was told 3 times by the Crown Solicitor's Office.
In February 2016, in October 2016 and in December 2022.
Ministers should be told. I don't recall ever being told about this issue while I was the Minister for Finance.
The matter now referred to the Ombudsman.
We will get to the bottom of what's happened and we will hold those people to account.
The illegal surcharges have been switched off for around 90% of payments as a government task force now works through their systems to stop the rest.
It is not as simple as just flicking a switch and that's it. We're talking with many different items, different legacy items, different technologies, different banking systems, all operating at different levels.
Sophie Upcroft, 9 News.
And Sophie's with me at the desk. Sophie, can taxpayers get their money back?
Well, that's the aim, Pete, but the government stopped short of giving their absolute word on that today. They say their immediate focus is on stopping these charges as soon as possible. Once that's done, they'll turn their focus to finding a way to try and return the $144 million. You can register on the Service New South Wales website to receive updates on this situation and instructions on how to apply for a refund if the government finds a way to pay it back. Pete?
Sophie, thank you.
If the government finds a way to pay it back, oh my God. $1 million question should really be, does the government want to pay it back as they continuously spend oodles and oodles of money on crap that we didn't ask for, or funnel money from our pockets into the hands of foreign businesses, countries, wars, and various other horrific sights to be seen? So this is another laughable one here on the wonders of paracetamol packs to shrink. Gonna guess the price won't go with it.
On the way for a common painkiller. Packets of paracetamol are set to shrink under new restrictions to combat the intentional misuse of the products.
For this familiar brand, the process...
Now, I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark. I haven't actually seen this, but I got $10 says that they won't actually address why it's being misused.
process of downsizing is underway.
People will start to notice changes to the pack sizes of paracetamol products across Australia. There has been a big kind of effort behind the scenes to make sure that we're having continued supply.
The changes apply to most paracetamol products, including cold and flu tablets, from February.
This legislation strikes the balance between trying to protect people from overdose but also allowing people to still access paracetamol.
Nationally, paracetamol pack sizes in supermarkets and convenience stores will shrink from 20 to 16 tablets. In pharmacies in a majority of states, only 50 packs will be readily available. Anything more will be moved behind the counter through the pharmacist. In Queensland and WA pharmacies where regulations differ, only 16-pack tablets will be readily available. Anything more will move behind the counter.
These changes just bring us in line with many other countries.
Dr. Cairns
Really?
among the panel of experts prompting change to help reduce liver injuries and deaths.
There was an increasing number of overdoses with paracetamol in the past decade. That was primarily involving young people.
The downsize doesn't mean people will pay the same.
People will see a change in the recommended retail price.
The impact of these changes to consumers is considered small compared to when codeine was made prescription only 6 years ago.
It did impact quite significantly on those people who are relying on that medication. But again, we've got to look at the pros and cons around harm and safety.
For those struggling to cope, help is available on 13 11 14. Gabriella Rogers, 9 News.
Wow. Seems like my prediction is correct. Let's see if they got a little bit more to say. Nah, just a whole bunch of keep watching crap. What a surprise. They didn't tell you anything about what kind of abuse, but one thing they did mention, liver dysfunction. So they know that paracetamol does damage to the liver. So it's probably not the best thing to take for a hangover, because you've already fucked your liver up pretty good with the alcohol, and then go, oh shit, I got a kicking headache. Let's have some Panadol on top of that. Not a wise decision. Not that I'm a doctor or anything. That's just me going through the logic circuits that I know you're not supposed to use your own logic. You know, you're not supposed to be your own doctor. I know my doctor gets frustrated at me quite a lot because I think, but you know, I like my doctor because she thinks too. So it's always entertaining, you know, but you know, that's one of those things, you know, I won't get too much into that because I don't want my doctor to get into trouble. But anyway, the next one, video. Where are we at? Because most of this shit's videos today. So, you know what? PooTube, all you PooTubers out there, I'm going to have to ask you to go into the comments section. Surely you know the drill by now. I don't know why you're still watching on PooTube. Thank you for watching on PooTube or watching in all. I do appreciate it. Look, I'm sure, look, it is a well-built platform. I get it, but it's time to move on because some of the content I'm going to bring you now, they don't want you to know about. So, you know, it's sorry. I'm gonna have to flush you, YouTube, just like the Labor Party. You've been given a flush here in Queensland. See you later, guys. Check the description and you can come and join us over there and see why PooTube won't allow us to talk about these things. So see you later, PooTube.